Good afternoon, everybody. I'm in my quiet recording studio away from the kids. I've been thinking about making this video for a while. Little tips for new Down syndrome parents, because I've been there before. My little guy's 6 now, and I remember how scary it can be, how random life seems to get thrown into chaos after that. Did that make sense? Probably not. But I remember going from not doing much to, oh my gosh, we don't have enough time in the day to get to everything. But I typed out some, it's like script / talking points I'm just going to read through. So first one is 1 head of iceberg lettuce. Oh, sorry, that's my grocery list. Alright, here we go. Don't panic. Some parents do testing before the baby is born to find out if the baby's going to have Down syndrome or not. We kind of knew because of an ultrasound showing a fluid buildup due to an intestinal restriction called a duodenal atresia, which had to be repaired by surgery the day he was born, which was scary. It's kind of funny because, like, once they get hints of the baby having Down syndrome, this is our case anyways, they start talking about, well, you know, there's other alternatives if, you know, you just don't want to go through with this pregnancy and all this crap. And I'm like, is the kid mine? Does he have my last name? Then I'm keeping him. I don't care what I have to do, what I have to adapt to. I'm keeping my own child. Be prepared for a lot of appointments. There will be quite a few. First, it's going to be assessments and checkups. Then you're going to get into therapies and probably meet with a genetic specialist about once a year, or maybe every 6 months starting out. I can't remember exactly. But there are government programs, and some states have medical insurance for disabled kids. All kinds of things you can look into for help. If you need help getting transportation to these appointments, there are, at least in Tennessee, there's state programs, and I'm sure most states are the same. There's Social Security disability benefit, which is federal. We qualified for that, which helped out a lot. Now they say we make too much to get the payments, which we're barely getting by, so I don't see how that is, but they have their own numbers they go by. So I'm hoping this YouTube thing works out, but we'll see. Just for some extra money. I'm not trying to make this a full-time career. Invite your friends and family to take part in their life as they would any other child. Some will be nervous or afraid. I've had a few that they've only casually talked to a person with Down syndrome, but to see a little baby with it, they think like the baby's made out of glass, and if you touch them too quick, they're going to break. They're actually sturdy kids. I'm just going to say that. Mine's got 2 big brothers. He's sturdy. Also, people who have never had contact with a Down syndrome person may unintentionally say something that seems offensive. Most of them don't know any better. So if that happens, just let it slide and just, you know, nicely explain things to them. They'll say stuff like, oh, what's wrong with them, or something, like there's something wrong. They're born different, but that doesn't mean that they're wrong for it. If someone doesn't know any better, if someone does know better, but they say something offensive anyway, just let it go. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life, and they're not worth the attention that they desperately crave in their own life. Let's see. If your little one with Down syndrome is the first child you have, don't be afraid to try for more. I can't speak to those whose little one has a type that is carried genetically. There's some that are passed down genetically. Even if no other family member has it, they'll still carry the genes or something. Ours was the type that was just random. Like, it just randomly happened. We can't have any more kids due to medical issues, unfortunately. But we know Down syndrome families who have younger children without Down syndrome. And they're just like any other regular kid that you would see. I've met older people who have adult Down syndrome children, and they gave up on having more after that one was born, and the kid just grew up lonely, had very little social interaction with people, and they kind of just, how do you explain it? Kids with Down syndrome are very joyful, like it comes natural. But the ones that grew up alone like that, it's like their natural joy had been stripped away. The siblings of Down syndrome kids are very, very vital to social development. Our little guy is friendly, outgoing, and sociable because he's growing up with two brothers that have treated him like any other kid. He wrestles with them, runs, and laughs with them. He's in special ed but doesn't get special treatment. He sometimes needs more attention than the other kids. But my kids know that they're all equal to us and equally loved, and they don't view him as being better than them in our eyes. They're happy to jump in and help their little brother. I want him to grow up expecting to earn things like everyone else based on his physical and mental capabilities, but most importantly, to not see Down syndrome as something that's going to keep him down, keep him a victim, but to view it as an obstacle that can be adapted to and learn to overcome challenges. The Special Olympics, which is a wonderful organization, is a testament to that. Also, the part with siblings helps when they start school. My youngest is in kindergarten special education. The one older than that's in second grade, and his big brother he'll walk him into class, get him settled in his classroom, and then he'll go to his class. And at the end of the day, he comes and picks his brother up and walks him out the door to me. Or their mom if she picks him up. Or both of us if we're together. But, yeah. Let's see, sorry. I'm tired. My brain's scattered. Here we go. Yeah. Stuff like that helps the sibling out also because it teaches them to understand, even as a young child, that Down syndrome isn't something to be afraid of. It's something that can be talked about, and it's something they can be an advocate for at the school. They can teach their friends that Down syndrome isn't scary or weird, but it's okay to go talk to the kids in the other classes. When they have school events where the children can have a family member with them, our second grader always wants his little brother there hanging out with him, and he'll do different things with him, and our little one with Down syndrome will get to interact with more of the school that way as well, because of they just treat him like a normal kid and take him around to everybody. Don't be afraid to talk about your challenges you're having. People want to help when you have a kid with Down syndrome, but they don't always know how. Just be open and honest. You could say something like, oh, I could use some groceries from the store, or just anything, really. If you feel like you need something, it never hurts to ask. I was one of those people who didn't like to take things from others that were given to us. I always felt like I didn't earn it. I mean, even with gifts, I kind of felt that way growing up, but I'm deeply grateful when someone does good for one of my children, and I don't forget it. Try to relax. Your schedule may be hectic. Mine was. A few weeks after he was born, I left my job because he was going to have therapies and appointments every day, and at the time, my wife had the better job. I also used that time to go back to school and get my college degree. I'm not saying you have to do that because it adds a whole new level of stress to your life. But the point is, take care of your body and mind because your little one needs you, and you best know what you can handle and know when you need to take a break. Be patient. Take one day at a time. Don't try to overthink it and cause yourself unnecessary stress. Sometimes to prevent feeling overwhelmed, you will need to slow it down to where you're almost taking it 1 hour at a time. There's a saying that says slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Stick to that. You and your little one will be much better off chipping away at tiny tasks through the day instead of drowning in stress and worry. Stand up for yourself if needed. If someone is trying to rush you through something, even if it's an extended family member trying to make dinner plans with you, don't be afraid to let them know they're going to have to wait until you can go get a clear head after you've finished everything else to make a plan. If they love you, they will understand. There were moments where I just had to turn off my phone, turn off the lights and TV, and just sit and bask in dark silence for a few minutes. If you have someone you're raising your little one with, like I've got my wife, thankfully, who I couldn't do anything without, don't ever hide anything. Tell them how you're feeling so they can take over for a few minutes, or vice versa, and give you time to unwind, even if it's just to step outside for a few minutes or take a quick trip to the grocery store by yourself. Embrace our culture. I don't mean any particular country, local culture, ethnicity. I'm talking about our Down syndrome culture. We have one. We are international. Find your nearest Down syndrome group and jump in. Our local one here is the Down Syndrome Awareness Group of East Tennessee, also known as DSAG, which is part of the National Down Syndrome Society, and they are incredible. They do so much for these kids. We used to go to the Knoxville Buddy Walk every year until we got too busy, but the first time we went, when our little guy was just a baby, was the first big sign that somehow everything was going to be okay. Everyone is happy and loving and accepting, and there's loud music, and the older kids are just going to town with their dance moves. It's great. Our 6-year-old loves music and dancing now, so I know once we get to go again, he'll be all about that, because he wears himself out at school dancing. It helps to get connected to the other families at these events, so you build a bigger family of people going through the same stuff. Going back to being patient, celebrate every achievement, no matter how small it may seem. Never hold yourself to someone else's standards, and never compare your child to another one with Down syndrome. People would often ask, when is he going to be able to do this, or when is he going to start doing this? The correct answer is whenever they're ready. Every child with Down syndrome is a unique individual. They develop and learn things at their own pace and not at anyone else's. Just slow down and let them take their time. If they're doing therapies, then know that it's going to pay off. It may take a while. You may get frustrated at how long they're taking to do things and get frustrated even more. Yeah, that didn't make sense. Don't. Just stick with them. My little guy couldn't sit up on his own till he was at least a year old. Started walking when he was about 2. Started feeding himself when he was about 3. He struggles still with firmer foods, which part of that is due to his extremely large tonsils that will be removed in a couple of months. He understands us well, but only says a few words, as well as knowing ABCs and numbers with a bunch of gibberish thrown about. It's the cutest gibberish you ever heard. He's 6 now, and to see how far he has come in 6 years and to know how much further he'll go is mind-blowing. We know a family whose Down syndrome daughter was 8 before she was fully conversational. Some things they may still be behind in at this age. We're trying to potty train, but the difficult part is getting him to understand what he's got to do. But we'll get there. If your little one with Down syndrome isn't potty trained by a certain age, check with your pediatrician. You can get a prescription for insurance to pay for diapers, which is a great help. I mean, they're basically what we call poverty diapers, but they do the job. Don't forget to appreciate what you have learned from them. I had a good upbringing. My parents weren't together, but them and my grandparents tried to do right by me. I went down a dark, selfish, arrogant path for several years, starting right at the end of my senior year. Maturing and having a family has been a huge part of me attempting to be a good person now. But my little guy has taught me so much about humility, patience, and unconditional love for all. And for that, I will forever be thankful to be a Down syndrome dad. Sorry for the stuttering. My brain gets as scattered as my notes are when I start reading stuff like this, but I really wanted to help people that are new to being a Down syndrome parent. Maybe you're expecting and you know they're going to have that, or you just had the baby, or maybe they're still a young kid and you just want some tips of somebody that's went through it, or you just want to know that you're not in this alone. I hope this helps somebody. I read every comment on all my videos, so if anybody has any questions about being a Down syndrome parent, please do not hesitate to leave a comment. Sometimes I'll get up in the middle of the night and I'll open the YouTube Studio app just to see if anything's new there, so don't be afraid to leave a comment at any time. I will read it and I will answer it or respond to it. So I hope y'all have a great day. Hope you have a happy new year. It's coming up in a couple days. May this year bring good health, peace, and prosperity to all. And until next time, thanks for watching.